2, 1. And now here's the cutscene, which, I mean, kind of makes sense of why Gamma turned over against Eggman.
Kinda, yeah. It looks a little weird being stretched out into 16 by 9, but
Oh, yeah.
it
Yeah.
works.
Oh, yeah,
Because those are all just PNGs or whatever.
Yeah, they're just
still
PNGs. I wonder why whoever, because even if you do need a mod to get the PC version to render in widescreen.
Yeah.
So I wonder why that mod couldn't have at least redone those screenshots, but I don't know the extent of how long that would go. But then again, it'd just be a texture swap, and those are pretty
look
easy.
like unique images. Those look like relatively unique images.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they were just pictures from... those are just screenshots from cutscenes.
But at the same time, they didn't have that same kind of visual quality. Then again, image compression.
Yeah. And then, why does this Windstone like keep getting moved back to Tails' workshop? Again, continuity problems.
Blah blah something flight. Wind.
It's the
maybe?
Windstone. It moves on its own.
And it's attracted to Tails' place because flight, and you die.
Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
you
I didn't know that bridge was gonna fall right underneath me.
Fair enough. But now you know.
The more you know.
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. Also,
yeah.
I like how Gamma like announces every goddamn thing he does.
Fire,
It's great.
fire.
Fire. Mode change. Obtained item. Obtained item.
Fire,
up,
fire,
put
fire,
down.
fire.
Fire. Fire. Fire. You can say whatever you want. Fuck. Fuck fire. Fuck.
You died
And
again.
I die again. I am good at this Sonic adventure. At least it was right next to a checkpoint, so I didn't have to do any editing.
True.
I just shot down the bridge.
Yes.
Good job, me.
It is a
Right
destructible wall.
as I was just about to use it, too.
And there's 103.
See, even what E-103 has fucking
Two
rockets
guns.
and two arm cannons. Why does Gamma just casually only have one?
Yes.
And also, I'm confused. Because Gamma gets destroyed at the end of this game, is the robot that's in Sonic Heroes a different one?
You mean the one
Has to be.
that's on Team...
That's on Team Dark, yeah.
That's 123 Omega.
Oh!
And that's the robot that appeared in Shadow. It appeared in 06. It appeared in Forces. I think. For like half a second.
Huh.
Yeah, no, Gamma's just gone.
Gamma's got, okay. It's like, well, the robot's
Gamma-
red. It has that same dumb voice in Heroes.
You know, completely different.
Yeah. But then again, I never actually, again, the only story in Heroes that I've completed, because I haven't, because, like, unlike, say, like, these games where I did play when I was younger and never really got that far in, Heroes, I never picked it up after playing it on the GameCube, like, all those years ago. So,
yeah, that's fair.
I was able to find a copy of the PC version, and it runs on Windows 10 somehow. So I have it on my computer, I just haven't played it.
Yeah, no, the robot that appears ever since Heroes is Omega, which is basically the final model in the E100 series, essentially. Hence the name Omega, and the giant Omega plastered on its shoulder.
Yeah.
But, fair enough.
Yeah. Also, going back to what I was saying, in terms of how would, how should we do, like, Heroes? just one story, like Sonic's story, and then skip to final, or should we like do a live commentary where we put through the bullshit that is the entire game?
I would say. Ooh, that is a tough one.
Because if there's any story that's at least, if we were to like say like do just 2 stories and then last, I would say like Team Sonic, and then Team Chaotix, because Team Chaotix is kind of fun with
and
their
Team Chaotix
mission-based
has the
gameplay.
most story relevance,
Yeah,
ironically enough.
yeah.
You know, the only other time they're playable, and it's
Yeah.
the most important story in Heroes.
After Knuckles Chaotix, they get like some spotlight in Heroes, and they've been forever been relegated to just background to the character.
Yeah. And at least we've gotten back. It's playable.
Yeah. They finally got a driver home from the bar.
Yeah, finally. Oh, man.
Except for if, Mighty and Ray's involvement, with like their latest show up only just being Mania, I'd be fine with that, because already inside of themselves, Mighty and Ray were kind of obscure characters in the first place.
True. Like, they don't, like, Ray only ever appears in Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. That's literally what the
Sega
arcade
Sonic.
cabinet's. It's literally what the arcade cabinet is called, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep.
And then the only other time we've had Mighty was in Knuckles Chaotix, where he was literally listed.
Yes, and again, that was a 32X game. And who had the 32X?
Exactly.
Knuckles Chaotix would have been even more obscure if it was a Sega CD 32X game.
Very true. Very true.
Which I want to have whatever the fuck Sega execs were having when they thought of that brilliantly stupid idea. Sega CD 32X game. You need both stupid peripherals.
Well, the Sega CD worked in terms of finances, but
Yeah, the Sega CD was, as I've probably said, I think I've said before in an earlier part, the Sega CD made somewhat sense. Sega was, kind of beating everybody to the punch with, this next generation of, format. It just took forever to fucking load.
yeah,
But the 32X was literally, it was supposed to be a stopgap between Genesis and the Saturn, but the Saturn was already out.
well, that's the thing. I'm gonna very oversimplify this, but the 32X was originally its own project. And that was supposed to be...
supposed to be like Sega? Was it supposed to be like Sega Neptune, or it was supposed to be like an souped up Genesis?
That came after. That was a proposed project after the 32X released.
Okay.
The 32X was originally called Project Mars. When Project Mars started, there was no plans for a 32-bit system, except in Sega of Japan, where they wanted to move on.
Mm-hmm. Man, what is
We
it
can
with
play-
Sega and like
Screwing
and like
themselves over?
planets? Well, I mean that, but planets. Like they were like, after the Genesis, what should we do? Planets.
I mean, how do you go from Master System
Genesis.
to Genesis? I mean,
Which doesn't make sense because Mega Drive,
That makes
at
sense.
least in terms of like the other regions of the world, makes sense. It's Master System,
But I understand.
Mega Drive, but Master System, then Genesis. Isn't Genesis supposed to mean like beginning? It would make sense if that was their first console, but it wasn't.
But I think the idea was that it was a rebirth. It was a
I mean, they
start of their
definitely had
new
a
story.
Genesis in terms of in the U.S. market,
Yeah.
if that's what they were going for.
I
Which I mean,
think
I
that
guess
is what
that
they're-
worked, but still, it's a weird name.
Like the start of a new era kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know.
And Sega, even being the one-trick pony they kind of were, like, they were fantastic in the Genesis era, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah. Again, it was just poor management communication. That's really what screwed them up in the same.
Especially when you don't have, like good communication, especially between, the English-speaking people and the Japanese-speaking folk.
Well, like, the entire issue between the 32X and the Saturn was that Sega Japan wanted to move on from the Genesis, but Sega America wanted to keep going with the Genesis because it was doing so well.
But it would make sense. Okay, the 32X would have made more sense as, I don't want to say like exactly like the 32X, but if Sega pulled like the Super FX chip. So like extra hardware in the cartridge that might have made the cartridge more expensive, but could push, more of the console. 32X moniker would have worked better.
I think the idea is supposed to be that, but you don't have to keep buying more expensive cartridges. You just buy.
But then it became a peripheral that nobody would have bought in.
True.
Because the reason,
like, people were interested in the 32X. How more
obscure of a game would Star Fox have been if it would have been like, like in a game that was exclusive to like the Super CD, if that became a thing.
That is a good point. But then again, Star Fox has been continually rebooted ever since. Yes.
It's because Nintendo doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that is the problem.
I mean, at least it's better than the other series that Nintendo doesn't know what to do with and then frequently just doesn't do anything with it at all, F-Zero.
Well, fuck Miyamoto. I'm just gonna say this. Fuck Miyamoto. He's to blame for like, a lot of the problems nowadays. I personally think that Miyamoto is now harming the Nintendo thing.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay. I haven't really been keeping on top of the main shenanigans at Nintendo lately, but I mean, outside of the stuff that gets
people
hit pieces from like Kotaku about them completely destroying an entire third of Game Jolt, but
but like Miyamoto himself said that he doesn't know what to do with the F-Zero series unless there was something interesting that could be done with it, which has been implied to mean gimmick. And we saw what happened to F-Zero in Nintendo Land.
Was that a thing in? Oh yeah, Nintendo Land.
Yeah, Nintendo Land.
I thought you were talking about the theme park for a second.
No, that's Super Nintendo Land.
Yes, good naming scheme you got there, Nintendo.
Hey, it could always be worse. It can always be worse.
Oh yes. I also think it comes down to, now this is totally speculation and not true at all. It's just funny to think about that Nintendo's butthurt that Sega did a better job making an F-Zero game than Nintendo.
Yeah,
would've.
There is that to consider.
Which that comes back to, why don't you give it back to Sega to make another one? Because the guys at Sega totally have expressed interest that they'd love to pick up F-Zero.
Yeah. And the one guy who worked on it, I think this was covered in the Brain Scratch remake.
The revisit of the story
mode?
That was a beautiful
Yeah, I think
video.
they covered it there. But, the guy who, I think directed GX also is now, working on the Yakuza series. Ugh.
Amusement Vision turned into whatever is creating the Yakuza games, I believe.
Yeah. So obviously that team has gone on to make some really impressive shit.
Mm-hmm. I gotta keep playing Yakuza 0. I've made it to chapter 4, and then I bought the PS5, so I haven't touched the Xbox in a while, but
I mean, at least you've touched the Yakuza series. I
And
haven't.
it's fabulous. I love how it's a game that has a serious story that does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I always love that. It's like, this is a game that has an actual, like, serious story, but
But it doesn't
could
take
really
itself
give a shit
seriously.
less. Doesn't take itself seriously.
And I think it is that, like, level of disbelief you have to put yourself in just to enjoy it.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm also, enjoying, the story it has, but also just all the other dumb shit you can do. And how you can absolutely just fucking pummel people is just so much fun. See, that's just a screenshot from gameplay. Like, there's the HUD element in there.
Fair enough. And then there's the big one. It's just a fucking
And then
boss
there's
rush.
this asshole. Also, didn't I use the elevator? Why did I walk out of that door? Continuity!
Don't question it.
Man. I mean, I'll keep saying it. I love this game, but the more I look, like, into the intricacies, this is like, man, this game was made in just 10 months.
Yeah. Then again, like, so was Majora's Mask, pretty much. That was, like, less than a year of dev time.
Yeah.
Melee was a year of dev time. And those two games are highly regarded.
Yeah. But then again, we're also talking about, Nintendo's
Nintendo knew
main
what they were
development
doing.
versus Sonic Team.
True. And again, back when Nintendo knew what the fuck they were doing half the time.
Yeah.
Because, boy, these last couple of years have been a fucking
Yeah, like,
trip
actually,
to be a
like,
Nintendo fan.
reading into, like, typical gaming company news, it's just been becoming more depressing about how it's just becoming more and more about, the business and pushing units, and not about making things that people are passionate about.
And that's why the indie scene has gotten so big recently. Because
Yes,
those are the
because
people
you
that are
have the
passionate.
people who actually do care picking up the slack for the businesses that could give a shit less. Like, I'm pretty sure you heard about Vicarious Visions is no more.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Vicarious Visions got folded into Blizzard, and now they'll only be working on Blizzard titles.
Fuck. Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Because, like, Insane Trilogy was great. I heard that the Tony Hawk remakes were fantastic.
But
But
the Tony Hawk
Blizzard
remake
was
probably
having-
didn't
Blizzard-
sell
yeah.
well.
Yeah. And Blizzard, I mean, I think the news came down as Blizzard was, like, wanted to create a remake of their game, and it wasn't coming through. So Activision was like, you know what? We'll give you the team that's good at remakes. And just folded it into Blizzard.
Which just... depression.
Which is, yeah, it's depression, because you have this team that could have been, absolutely fantastic at, like, Activision and whatever properties they owned, retro revivals, because,
Yes.
but no, it's just business now.
It's just business. That's all it is.
Activision is like the second EA.
The second coming of EA.
Yeah. Goodness. In the classic line, when will you learn that your actions have consequences?
Have consequences.
All right,
All
we'll see you all for part 18. We're almost done! Oh.
No, part 17.
Wait, shit! It's at 0-0 on part 17. I'll edit that out. Proceeds to not edit that out. Thanks,
Keep it
future
in.
me.
Keep it in.
All right, we're going to be on to part 17.
Yes.
All right, ready whenever you are.